Hey guys, so now let's look into how should we design our microservices. The idea behind microservices is driven by efficiency, and let's explore the brick and mortar store and its online version to understand better. The brick and mortar physical store has employees to manage stock, receive inventory, shelf products, help customers, serve in checkout counters, manage the store, and so on. Multiple employees, right? If you go to a supermarket, you will find lots of maybe 150 employees managing a large superstore. Employees act on their own. When there are some rule changes, say city sales tax went higher by 0.5%, for the checkout clerks to know, the manager only calls the checkout clerks to inform, not the employees who perform, shelving the stacks, not all of them. Employees fell sick on their own. When one employee fell sick from flu, others can continue. 150 employees do not fell sick together, right? Let's understand the efficient model happening in the brick and mortar version of our retail system. Online store has APIs. Now, instead of employees, in a brick and mortar store, a physical employee will handle checkout. In a online store, an API will handle the same. APIs do the task of physical employees in the brick and mortar version. Checkouts are performed by checkout API, for example. Online APIs traditionally act together. However, in the online version, all APIs are deployed, started, stopped, and monitored together. A small change in the checkout API, say the tax change, will force the test and redeployment of the product content API and other API. So you can see here is we are breaking from our efficient brick and mortar store model, and we are taking a very inefficient model. Like I said, one employee fell sick, the other 149 employees can keep working. But when you are deploying one API, you still have to deploy other 149 APIs, making the entire application be unavailable for the customer. That's an inefficient model. So a sick API with bug as well infects other APIs. Have you seen that in a store? A particular employee calls his manager, her manager, he or she has flu, and then other people can continue. But when one API in a monolithic service has memory leak, every other API is impacted. That's a very inefficient model, right? So as I said, most things that IT industry receives or hears or works on has a precedence in the real life, and there is how I am trying to explain you. That's the precedence. That's the efficient microservice model already existing in our brick and mortar version of stores. So let's move on. So let's see how we can be doing better. So let's API do one thing well. The product content API does not belong to the same deployment archive that has the shipping API. In the physical store, the person who handles shipping does not handle product queries normally at the same time. Too fine grained. However, how do you know you are not breaking APIs in a too fine grained way? How fine grained APIs need to be? Does each CRUD operation goes into its own API? Not necessarily. As long as we can automate production deployable quality regression and load testing, we may avoid cutting APIs too thin. Like what I'm saying, you can create one microservice that supports create, delete, update, and retrieval of a single domain. Divide as per business function. So let's always look what the physical store equivalent is doing, right? Physical business equivalent is doing, like in a bank teller, like in a retail industry, like in a hospital, healthcare. See whether you have an examples of job boundaries, and in your microservice design, follow the job boundaries. Okay. So check availability requirements. So this is a counter argument of the too thin requirement. If your business has the product API doing all CRUD for product, and you have determined that the get product has a 24/7 availability requirements, while create product can live with 2-3 hours of downtime, you need to deploy them separately. So because if your create product API has a memory leak, you cannot allow that to impact your get product API, which has the possibility of impacting, crushing your site. So that's something you need to keep in mind. First, think about to automate testing. Without automated, reliable testing, just having microservices is not going to help realize business goals of faster time to market. Add instant troubleshooting tools as well. We will talk about it later on, but let me mention one thing: when thousands of hundreds of microservices work with one another, troubleshooting becomes that much difficult. Think about how quickly we can pinpoint the root cause of the problem area. Let's move on. Cross cutting requirements, let's do that in a separate video. Okay, thanks for listening. Let me know if you have any comments. Put your review comments in the comments area, and I will really be helpful for me to to learn from you guys. Thank you.